Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Asad Yaqub. So guys, academic IELTS reading, and there is another video of academic IELTS reading because many of my dear students requested me to make some videos on academic IELTS reading. Now in this video, I'm going to teach you matching, where they give you a list of experts, list of researchers or list of scientists, and you have to match those people with the statements. And often this question type is very confusing for you, so I'm going to help you out with that right away. If you haven't subscribed my channel, subscribe my channel now and watch this video till the end. Definitely it's going to be a very good use of your academic time. Let's take a start. Okay guys, now we've got list of people, and this type of questions is called matching, right? We've got this Edmund Halley, Johannes, Kepler, Guillemin, and you can read both names. Actually sometimes they use the last name, and Johann, Franz, and all that. Now in order to do this type of questions, it is important to scan and underline the names. Okay, now see, in the first one we've got Simon Newcomb, but we don't have Simon Newcomb. Then they talk about this Edmund Halley. Yes, they talk about Edmund Halley, right? It's all about Edmund Halley. And if we go on, again Halley, they're talking about Halley, right? I just need to see the name, Halley. Okay, Halley here. Right, let's go on and we see if there is any other name here. Yes, you can see how Halley is, is the most popular one. Here we've got this Guillaume Le Gentil. Okay, so first we need to underline all the names. Again, Le Gentil. Okay, let's see, Philippines. So, it's the proper noun, so you can easily locate that. Alright, there's no name here. Director, France, Johann Franz. Yeah, we do have this name, Johann Franz. Let me just see again. We found Halley, Johann Franz, we found this Le Gentil. Now Johann Franz Enki and Johannes Kepler. Let's see if there is Johannes Kepler as well. This we found, Johannes Kepler. Okay. There's no mention of him. Johannes Kepler. Let me just find Johannes Kepler actually. Well guys, I'm just looking for Johannes Kepler. Right, he may be somewhere else. Otherwise, if he's not here, this is one. Okay. Sometimes, it becomes difficult to locate the information. Johannes Kepler, not there. Okay, Johannes Kepler. Right, it's going to be here somewhere. We had Halley. Sometimes, scanning becomes difficult. So anyways, now we are going to start with the first one, Edmund Halley. And we will see where do we go with Edmund Halley, right? So that's what we have to find right away. Edmund Halley is the one we need to just look for. Edmund Halley is here, so we have to read his statement. Halley, what does he say? And then we're going to match it somewhere. Alright, it's in paragraph B. So Edmund Halley in November 1670, Halley observed a transit of the Now, this is another thing. Unless we read the statements, it can be difficult. Now there is one thing, unless we read the statements, it can be difficult because we found Halley here, and at a lot of places we found Halley. So here they say he calculated the distance. So we'll just see if there is any calculation and the distance of the sun from earth. He understood that the distance of the sun from the earth could be worked out by comparing. He understood, and distance of sun from earth could be worked out by comparing observations. And he realized that the time taken by a planet to go round the sun depends on its distance from the sun. And he witnessed a Venus transit but was unable to make any calculation. So you need to read all the questions very clearly. He witnessed Venus transit but was unable to make any calculations. Okay, now let's see. We've got all the points in mind, so we got to see which one is going to be here. He realized that from different attitudes, okay, the planet across the sun's disk appear by timing the transit from widely separate locations. Team calculate. Now let's see, because we did something about calculation. So by timing the transit from two widely separated locations, team of astronomers could calculate the parallax angle, the apparent difference in the position of an astronomical body due to the difference. Calculating this angle would allow astronomers to measure what was then the ultimate goal. Now what? The distance of the earth from the sun. Let's see, where do we have this calculation and all that? See, there they say he calculated the distance of the sun from earth based on observation of Venus. No. They use the word calculate, but actually it's not. Basically, sun from the earth based on observation of Venus with a fair degree of accuracy. So far they did not mention anything. This distance is known as the astronomical unit, or AU. He understood that the distance of sun from earth could be worked out by comparing observations of a transit. I doubt it. Let's see. By timing the transit, by timing the transit from two widely separated locations, teams of astronomers could calculate the parallax angle, the apparent difference in position on Earth, and all that. Calculating this angle would allow astronomers to measure what was the ultimate goal, the distance of the Earth from the sun. And what is that? He understood that the distance of the sun from the earth could be worked out by comparing observations of a transit. So question number 19, actually that is Edmund Halley. So the answer is A. And this calculated was a very nice trap, right? Okay, now let's just go on and we see if we could find any other answer here. Alright, now we are, by the way, see, we are done with this one, so we will not consider that. Calculated, realized and witnessed. So let's see what it is. Again we move on. Halley was aware that the AU and John Kepler in the early 17th century, alright, John Kepler had shown that the distance of the planets from the sun governed their orbit speed. Okay. Govern their orbit speed means depends on their orbit speed, which were easily measurable, but no one had found a way to calculate accurate distance to the planets from the earth. All right, John Kepler. Okay, again we read this because we need to be clear about it. Had shown that the distance of the planets from the sun governed their orbit speed, right, and which were easily measurable, but no one had found a way to calculate accurate distance to the planets from the earth. The goal was to measure the AU. This is what they mentioned here. Then knowing the orbit speeds of all other planets round the sun and the scale and all that. Let's see. He calculated the distance of the sun from, no, it isn't that. He realized that the time taken by a planet to go round the sun depends on its distance from the sun. Yeah, that sounds right. Sun governed their orbit speeds, which were easily measurable, but no one had found a way to calculate accurate distance to the planet from the earth. The goal was to measure the AU, then knowing the orbit speeds of all other planets round the sun, the scale of the solar system would fall into place. However, Halley realized that Mercury was so far and all that. He realized that the time taken by a planet to go round the sun depends on its distance from the sun. And then they talk about speed as well, right? So for question number 20, this is said by Johannes Kepler. So Johannes Kepler is there at B. So B will be the right answer for question number 20. Now we are done with 20 as well. When he says he realized the time taken by a planet to go round the sun depends on its distance from the sun, and there they say had shown that the distance of the planets from the sun governed their orbit speed. Distance and speed. And here he says the same thing. He realized that the time taken planet to go around the sun depends on its distance from the distance from the sun. So time taken is actually speed. Alright. So we are done with this Johannes, and we are done with but there can be any other statement of another person as well. So far we are done with 19 and 20. Okay, now let's go on. As we move on, we can find other people on the list as well. Next again we got Halley, and one person can have two statements as well. Inspired by Halley's suggestion of a way up in an solar system, team of okay, they were inspired. British and French astronomers set out the expedition to places diverse, India and Siberia, but things weren't helped by Britain and French being at war. Okay, the person who deserved most sympathy is the French astronomer Guillaume Le Gentil. He was thwarted by the fact that the British were besieging his observation site as this area in India, Pondicherry, fleeing on a French warship crossing the Indian Ocean. Alright. Le Gentil saw a wonderful transit, but the ship's pitching and rolling ruled out any attempt at making accurate observations. Good, good, good. Actually, he saw, but then he was unable to do anything, but the ship's pitching and rolling ruled out any attempt at making accurate observations. Now let's see. He calculated the distance of the sun from the earth based on observations of He witnessed a Venus transit but was unable to make any calculations. He witnessed. Now see here. Yeah. He saw a wonderful transit, but the ship's pitching and rolling ruled out any attempt at making accurate observation. It's actually Guillaume Le Gentil. So Guillaume Le Gentil is C. That is why for question number 21 the answer is C. Now we are left with one option. He calculated the distance of the sun from earth based on observation of Venus with a fair degree. Okay, let's just try. We don't have any name here. Now we come here. We found another name here, right? So there is no name there. That's why we just read this. But astronomers labored hard to analyze the result of these expeditions to observe Venus transit. Johann this, director of this, finally determined a value of AU based on all these parallax measurements. Alright, this is the distance they are talking about, 153,340. Reasonably accurate. Now they say AU, they already mentioned AU. Director of this determined a value for the AU based on all these parallax measurements, and this is the distance actually. And what is that? Result of these expeditions to observe Venus transits. Then they say reasonably accurate for the time that is quite close to today's value of 149,597,870 kilometers. Right? Determined by radar, which has now superseded transits and all that. Now what is it? But astronauts labored hard to analyze the results. Now what were the results? Basically the distance of sun from planet Earth. If you read from here, while this showed astronomers that Venus was surrounded by a thick layer, so sun's distance. Then say these expeditions to observe Venus transit, and this director of this finally determined a value for the AU. And by the way, for AU, they already mentioned AU here, astronomical unit. AU is astronomical unit. So I mean, if there is any terminology like that, you can always see. And they talk about distance. Now what is the question? He calculated the distance of sun from the earth based on observations of Venus with a fair degree of accuracy. And where do they say fair degree? Reasonably accurate. Okay, so who did that? Johann Franz Encke. Johann Franz Encke is D. That's why for question number 18, answer is D. Right? D, A, B, C. You will write on your answer sheet. For example, 18 D, 19 A, 20 B, and 21 C. This is how you will write it on answer sheet. Thank you. Welcome back. Okay guys, so feeling good, huh? Feeling confident? That's great. Thank you very much. I teach IELTS online. If you want to join my online IELTS classes, my WhatsApp number is given. You can contact me for that. Asad Yaqub truly wishes you all the best. Take care. Allah Hafiz.